Jobs in fast food restaurants are not vanishing suddenly. They are decreasing slowly and without much notice. Most individuals do not realize the change until the positions no longer exist. At present, in California and in more places throughout the nation, fast food restaurants do not appear in news stories for large numbers of workers losing employment. No major statements occur, no widely shared protests take place, and no urgent alerts appear about a failure in the industry. Instead, a much less obvious process is taking place. That quiet nature is precisely why the situation deserves attention. Restaurants no longer hire employees in the same manner as before. Open positions disappear without any reason given. Work schedules become stricter, individual assignments grow shorter, and when employees depart, many of those roles remain empty forever. To customers, the experience appears ordinary. People enter, request their meals, and receive them. Yet behind the service area, fewer staff members work compared to several years earlier. This represents the actual form of job reduction in fast food. Not an abrupt failure, but gradual decline. For many years, fast food provided the main entry into employment. It served as the initial position, a reliable choice during difficulty, or a schedule that allowed study, family duties, or recovery after setbacks. That function is altering quickly. The reason does not involve reduced customer visits. The cause comes from increasing expenses, smaller profit spaces, and machines that have reached a stage where human replacement becomes practical. Machines in restaurants no longer belong to future plans or small tests. They form part of daily operations now. This presentation does not focus on former political discussions or repeated old points. It examines current events, the reasons for faster change, and the effects on employees who are slowly removed through higher costs or machine systems. At first view, the fast food sector does not seem to face serious problems. Locations remain open. Lines at drive-through windows still form during busy meal times. From outside observation, customer numbers look steady. Yet records of employment show a separate situation. The present development does not involve sudden removal of many workers. It involves gradual reduction in staff numbers. Fast food businesses choose to function with smaller teams than required in the past. They perform this change without public notice. In numerous places, new hiring has almost stopped. Roles that stayed available for long periods now vanish. When a staff member leaves, supervisors often receive instructions not to find a replacement. Instead, current employees must handle additional tasks. Work schedules demonstrate the alteration better than any news report. Fewer staff members appear for each period, hours decrease, and more duties fit into limited time. For employees, the experience does not resemble dismissal. It resembles increased pressure. This explains why reductions in fast food positions do not appear as expected. Total employment does not drop dramatically at once. It decreases little by little in each location over many weeks. The importance grows because customer interest remains present. Restaurants continue to serve many people. Revenue does not fall away. The smaller workforce does not result from lower sales. It results from planned choices. When businesses learn they can produce the same results with reduced staff, they rarely choose to add workers again. Each successful period strengthens the choice to maintain minimal teams. Gradually, the total number of employees settles at a lower amount and remains there. This does not represent a short-term response to hard times. It represents a permanent alteration in fast food operations. Because the process occurs without announcement, most individuals do not observe it until the positions themselves no longer exist. When people searching for work notice fewer openings, the industry has already changed. One cause for limited public concern is that the situation does not match familiar crisis patterns. No locations close suddenly, no sharp rise appears in requests for unemployment help, and no clear event marks a problem. Instead, modifications take place in areas customers rarely observe. Fast food always experienced frequent staff changes. Employees arrive and leave, schedules adjust, and supervisors constantly modify team sizes. That usual movement allows disappearing roles to remain unnoticed. A restaurant that once required 12 people now operates with 9, then 8. Soon, the smaller number becomes standard. From the customer viewpoint, service changes little at the beginning. Orders receive attention. The list of items stays familiar. Any waiting time receives explanation as temporary lack of staff, a phrase people accept easily. The key point missing is recognition that limited staff has become deliberate rather than brief. Another cause for reduced urgency is comparison with recent years. Reductions in technology companies, news organizations, and large offices received much attention. Beside those reports, fewer positions in fast food seem less pressing, even though millions of employees with limited savings feel the effects. Technology adds to the hidden nature. When machines take over a duty, no worker receives formal dismissal. A self-service ordering screen does not apply for benefits. An automatic beverage dispenser does not report reduced hours. From official records, the position simply ceases to appear. Thus, reductions in fast food employment remain unseen. They do not arrive with loud warnings or major stories. They develop through stopped hiring, shorter schedules, and duties that slowly end. When the full effect becomes clear, fewer individuals can even enter the sector, and the transformation has already become fixed. Surface appearance suggests continued normal operation, yet the system has learned to function with smaller human teams than ever before. To comprehend the decline in fast food employment, examination must go beyond one cause. This does not stem from a single rule or choice. It arises from expense patterns that changed more rapidly than businesses could manage comfortably. Fast food functions with small profit spaces by intention. That approach succeeds when costs remain steady and customer numbers stay high. However, in recent years, almost every main expense category increased simultaneously. Property rents and business agreements rose in many areas. Protection coverage costs climbed quickly, especially in regions with greater rules and risks. Energy and water bills continue to vary widely. Ingredients for meals show larger price swings than before. Labor represents only one part, yet it grew much more costly. The difficulty does not come from any single rise. It comes from all rises occurring together. When multiple pressures appear, companies must make lasting decisions. In fast food, limited options exist for response. Increasing menu prices offers one path, but boundaries limit it. Fast food attracts customers who notice price changes easily, raise costs too much, and people do not end all visits. They simply come less frequently. Total visits decrease without notice, adding further strain on profits. Reducing staff provides another quick option. Hours decrease at once. Separate work periods combine. Smaller teams schedule without closing locations. Here, job reductions gain speed. Not through major dismissals, but through routine choices made in each restaurant. The third option involves technology. Unlike price rises or staff cuts, technology changes do not reverse easily. Once equipment allows operation with fewer employees, that pattern becomes lasting. What separates this period from earlier cost difficulties is that machines now prove dependable, able to serve many locations and lower in price. Restaurants no longer question effectiveness. They observe daily success. When expense pressure continues, companies make permanent adjustments. Calculations always favor fewer human staff members performing tasks with support from machines that never miss work or request additional time. This describes current conditions, not opinion. It alters fast food more rapidly than most recognize. For many years, machines in fast food remained secondary choices. Companies tested them while depending mainly on large human teams. Self-service ordering screens stayed optional. Automatic beverage equipment provided convenience. Kitchen robots seemed more for attention than real use. That stage has ended. Now, machines in restaurants move from testing to standard practice. Focus shifts from possible benefits to established performance with full operations built around them. The key change does not involve direct replacement of each worker. Entire duties removed from human requirements. Requesting items, completing payment, preparing drinks, and simple food combination increasingly occur through machine processes. Human effort reserves for unusual situations, only needed when equipment fails or requires correction. This alters basic staff needs for operation. Previously, a minimum human team existed regardless of efficiency. That minimum has lowered, and once lowered, it does not increase again. The adoption reason adds importance. Companies add machines not for growth or better customer experience, but to manage ongoing expense pressure. When machines serve defensive purposes, here, job reductions become lasting. Unlike temporary difficult periods, machine systems do not bring back workers when conditions improve. No list exists for recall. No recovery stage occurs. Once a duty leaves the human process, it ends permanently. Effects build gradually. One fewer worker each period, one fewer role each location. Across thousands of restaurants, total employment drops greatly without any statement. For remaining staff, changes appear small yet real. Greater demands, quicker speed, reduced team support. For those seeking entry, access narrows more than ever. Machines did not appear suddenly. Yet reversal now lacks financial reason. This distinguishes the current period from all previous fast food experience. When fast food positions vanish, effects vary among workers. Some notice little difference. Others lose much beyond wages. Those most affected depend on fast food as workforce entry rather than permanent career. Beginners face greatest risk. These roles never offered ideal conditions, yet entry remained simple. No prior experience needed, adjustable hours, income possible during education or family care. As reductions continue, that entry path shrinks. Students notice quickly. Fast food once provided reliable limited hours fitting class times. Now fewer periods exist, and more people compete for them. Positions remain, but only for those accepting heavier duties or unwanted schedules. Older employees encounter separate difficulties. Many used fast food after leaving hard physical work or other sectors. Reduced teams allow little time for learning or adjustment. Speed receives priority, and those unable to match often leave without notice. Individuals returning after absence, including parents, caregivers, or health recovery, find changed conditions. Fast food once allowed mistakes during learning. Now strict schedules and small teams offer less guidance and tolerance. Room for error decreases. Lost elements extend beyond earnings. Opportunity disappears. Fast food uniquely accepted workers not fitting other places easily. As machines reduce human needs, those individuals do not move automatically to superior roles. They experience longer job searches, limited choices, and greater uncertainty. Because changes occur slowly, human effects remain easy to overlook. No statement marks removed position listings. No media event covers unscheduled work periods. Yet for workers with few options, small changes accumulate rapidly. While many employees face pressure, some participants gain from the transition. Large restaurant groups hold strongest position. They possess funds, size, and information smaller businesses lack. When expenses rise, they install machines quickly, share costs across many sites, and create uniform processes, reducing staff needs. For them, machines provide business strength. Self-service screens lower front area workers. Computer programs plan work times precisely. Automatic preparation areas decrease training and mistakes. Each advance reduces staff slightly while protecting profits without service problems. These groups do not aim to remove all humans. They seek steady processes, limited variation, and close performance monitoring. From business view, the approach succeeds. Some employees gain temporarily. Remaining staff often receive higher pay per hour and learn advanced equipment. For few, paths open to leadership or technical duties managing machines, yet balances exist. Service grows uniform and less warm. Tasks increase. Speed rises. Though hourly pay improves, total work time becomes harder to obtain. Overall positions decrease, even if remaining roles appear stronger. Small independent restaurants face greater difficulty. Lacking resources, many reduce hours sharply or halt growth plans. Some close without notice, others limit menus and service types needing fewer staff. The sector grows more centered on large groups, more machine-based, and less tolerant of variation. Successful parties adapt rapidly with funds. Others adjust to demands for greater results from smaller teams. Price increases often serve as initial response to higher costs. Current menus show clear differences from recent years. Items once viewed as low-cost choices now cost noticeably more. Yet raised prices do not resolve basic issues. They move the difficulty elsewhere. Fast food relies on repeated visits. Customers return because costs allow regular habit. When prices rise too far, habit weakens. People do not end all fast food meals. They reduce frequency. That quiet fall in visits brings new pressure. With fewer entries, even planned price rises fail to increase revenue as expected. Sales level off, profits shrink again, and restaurants return to limited choices. Reduce staff, simplify tasks, or add more machines. Here, job reductions grow indirectly, not from price changes directly, but because higher costs lower visits enough to support smaller teams. Fast food holds limited ability to change identity. Moving to higher price levels risks losing main customers. Competing on lowest cost no longer works as before. Efficiency becomes main path for continued operation. Efficiency nearly always requires fewer employees. For customers, changes appear as reduced food amounts, simpler choices, and limited personal adjustments. For staff, fewer hours and openings exist despite steady customer numbers. Price rises provide delay, not lasting ease. They postpone hard choices without removing causes. While expenses stay elevated and customers watch costs carefully, staff expenses remain easiest to lower. Once positions removed for efficiency, they seldom return. Viewing fast food changes as limited to California overlooks wider effects. High expenses, narrow profits, rapid adjustment describe the area, yet the model spreads beyond one region. Successful operation with fewer staff becomes standard practice elsewhere. Machines expand easily across areas, unlike human teams. Technology functions identically in different cities. Self-service screens perform the same everywhere. Computer scheduling needs no separate setup per region. When systems prove cost reduction and steady operation, companies install them widely. Job reductions should not appear as a local issue. California serves as early example. Successful approaches there guide other places. Similar expense pressures now reach areas with moderate costs. Property protection and material prices increase nationally. Even lower wage regions observe and copy methods. Competition adds further push. When one group lowers staff while keeping service, others must match. No business wishes to maintain higher costs than rivals. Efficiency becomes required, not special benefit. Local response becomes national standard through copying, not rules. What started as answer to particular conditions now defines usual operation. Once standard establishes, reversal grows very difficult, especially as machines improve and decrease in cost. Current alterations affect the entire industry across regions, whether employees notice yet or not. Fast food events form part of larger labor market reorganization, growing clearer through the present decade. Across many fields, simple skill, frequent change positions decrease gradually, rather than suddenly. Meanwhile, need increases for roles demanding technical knowledge, flexibility, and cooperation with machines. Fast food shows this change most clearly. The sector once accepted broad worker types with few entry requirements. It served as release point when other areas slowed. That function weakens. As machines become usual in restaurants, same results require fewer humans. Recorded productivity rises, yet entry to paid work narrows for those lacking special training. This widens separation. Workers with technical or leadership background adjust. They shift to system oversight, equipment care, or operation planning. Those without such preparation face harder conditions. Familiar positions exist in smaller numbers, and other choices often need training beyond reach. Thus, fast food reductions matter beyond the sector. They indicate labor market growing stricter at lower levels. The alteration also changes work experience for remaining staff. Demands increase. Tasks grow intense. Smaller teams handle greater duties with close performance tracking. This does not equal total failure, it equals rearrangement. Rearrangement always creates gainers and losers. Here, those losing position often hold least ability to manage change. Fast food continues. People purchase quick meals, restaurants operate. Yet counter-work transforms in ways simple to overlook and difficult to undo. Current events represent lasting alteration. Job reductions arise from elevated expenses, reduced profits, and machines becoming usual rather than rare. For some employees, higher hourly rates ease effects. For many others, positions grow harder to obtain or vanish completely. Once duty removes through machines, it does not return quietly during better times. The main insight states higher pay rates alone do not ensure improved positions, especially when roles themselves redesign. To follow work direction before positions disappear, consider regular updates and remain aware.